So in the last episode, WildChild had sailed from East Marion to Port Jefferson, where we sat safely in Port Jefferson for a few days to wait out the really nasty weather. We were inside the Long Island Sound because the nastiness on the outside was causing 15-foot waves, and there's no way I wanted to face that. Things did get pretty sporty in the anchorage, but at least we were protected, and those are not 15-foot waves, so we were okay. In this episode, we're going to make our way from Port Jefferson to Huntington, New York.
Oh, but there's another one further.
Is that a sailboat further or a powerboat? I thought it was a powerboat.
No, sailboat further and the second one right there. Sunday morning. Oh, the second one is coming in. Oh, just let the ferry pass, maybe. Is it a good time for an interview? Skipper?
Well, good morning, sailing fans. We are currently just leaving Port Jefferson Harbor, and yes, it's very cold out. We got spoiled. The last 2 days we sat here waiting out 40-knot winds were south winds, and they were very warm. We had actually 20 degrees in the cabin, which is the warmest we've been in forever. Right now we're headed out after the back end of a storm. We're in Long Island Sound. We're headed towards New York City. We have 30 miles to go to get to the base of the East River, but we won't get that far today because it will be sunny, cold, and dead calm, no wind at all. If we can get 10 more miles down the coast and find a marina or a yacht club that's still open this time of year, has electricity, showers, and laundry facilities, that would be just lovely. All our bedding and stuff is wet again. Everything inside the boat is soaking wet. It always is. And the humidity's 100%. There's nothing you can do to prevent it. So we gotta dry out all our bedding and clothes again. And we could use a shower. Well, expecting dead calm winds means we're probably gonna motor for most of the day. I hate motoring. But calm is good. Ah, you know me, Captain Lexi. If there is any possible chance to sail, even if we're sailing at 2 knots, I am totally gonna do it. We caught a little bit of wind, mostly on the nose, so we tucked in WildChild tight, brought her to windward, and we're doing fine. 9 over 4.5. Go, baby, go. I love this boat. Oh geez, Long Island Sound is a pretty crowded place. I guess we better keep our eyes open for other vessels. Look how great that is. Wind angle 70 degrees, 9.5 over 4.7.
We can have 10 knots for most of the day. That would be great.
We won't. The wind's going to die down to 2 knots by noon. This is going to end. Is that perfect sail shape or what? So what is it that they say sailing is just doing boat work in exotic places? We're in Long Island Sound and conditions are pretty calm, and this front hatch has been leaking and it's getting our bed wet, and it really is starting to bother me. See, it's light winds today, like 8 knots. So we're sailing. We're not at dock or anchor or mooring. We are actually sailing, but conditions are calm enough that it's time to do boat work. There's a week of rain coming again, and this is our only sunny day. Well, the problem that we have is that there's a rubber gasket that seals against here. when it's fine for rain the way it's set up, but when the waves come like under extreme force and they come up over the lip like this, we get dripping on our bed. And you can see that the failure was in the installation. That actually isn't sealed, so that lets water in, and this one just won't stay. We've glued it several times, but it rips because the problem is when the lid closes, you can see that it's pushing on this in a bad way and it keeps pushing it out. But I can't stand having a wet bed anymore, so silicone is a girl's best friend. We're gonna seal this hatch and tape it shut. Like, screw it, I'm tired of being wet. We don't need it, it's cold all the time. WildChild takes such a pounding. WildChild takes such a pounding. We are regularly, probably twice a week, burying the nose all day and just washing the whole boat. All of this ends up. That's enough of that. I've had it. We're gonna seal it so it doesn't open. We'll use tape and stuff and silicone so we can all cut it all out when we get to the tropics, but for now, it's time to be dry, I think. Seven knots of wind and WildChild still doing 4.5 knots of speed. She's a good girl in light winds. Ocean conditions have settled down. And the repair on that front hatch, well, it's not a perfect repair, but dry is dry. So what I did is I put tuck tape on the window itself so later I can peel it all off. And I put clear silicone on the rubber gasket, and so I sealed the rubber gasket in between the fiberglass and the rubber. I sealed that in, and then I put silicone on the rubber gasket all the way around. I'm gonna let it cure for probably 20 minutes to start to get a little tacky, to reduce the amount that it sticks to the tape. Then I'll go down below and close the hatch, and then the silicone will bond to the tape, which means later I can remove it. And essentially we're siliconing the hatch shut. And then I may even tape the edge over top when it's closed. Michelle keeps kicking the air boxes off the top of the boat, so I have to find some way to secure them that's sort of both ocean proof and kind of Michelle proof. The winds did die off on us in the afternoon, so it looks like the weather guessers finally got one right. We did end up motoring probably the last 3 or 4 miles. This is us pulling into Huntington Bay. Just like Port Jefferson, it seems to be very sandy. We're really not sure where to go. We're looking on the chart plotter and Google Maps and trying to gather information, but it seems like maybe we can just tuck around that corner and just drop the hook for the night and be pretty protected. But we really want to have a shower, and we really, really, really want to find laundry facilities. So we push our way a little further in. And that's kind of the thing about pulling into new ports. You never really have any idea where you're going. We saw at the end of the bigger bay there was a tiny little channel and river opening that said it went into where there was some marinas, but it was like sailing up a river. It was pretty tiny. Inside. We were nervous and we went slow.
As you can see, it's pretty tight here.
But watching the depth sounder, we always kept 2 feet under the keel at least.
Pretty narrow channel here.
Yeah, we're going into Huntington Harbor on Long Island. But the channel that's deep enough for us is like 10 feet wide or 20 feet wide. So we're going nice and slow and carefully watching our chart plotter and our depths.
Look at that. Is that crazy or what?
WildChild is a big blue water ocean going boat. We are not used to bringing it up a tiny creek.
That's one side. That's the other side.
Oh man, the shore is so close, it feels like we can touch it. It's starting to feel like maybe we're making a mistake. Maybe this inner bay or marina is only meant for little tiny boats like that. Maybe it's really not meant for big girls like WildChild. I wonder if we're gonna get stuck. Should we turn around now before we get stuck? Anybody? Wait, they're splitting us. Just keep the faith there, Captain. The tiny little creek opened up into this fabulous bay full of sailboats, even big girls like WildChild. We're in the right place, but now we gotta find a marina to dock in.
Looks like you cruise more than we do, I guess.
We came from Niagara Falls, Canada the hard way.
Well, welcome.
Thank you. It was a really beautiful and amazingly protected little bay. Now exactly where should we go? Maybe we should follow the powerboat. He seems to know where he's going. There's gotta be a marina in here somewheres. Well, this looks like a marina, and this looks like a marina building. We tried calling on the phone and calling on the VHF, but we couldn't raise anybody. We heard that there's a public dock if we go in a little further that we can stay at. I had Michelle on the helm doing the driving so I could stand on the deck and try to figure out where we're going. Eventually we got an indication of the public dock and began to make our way in. And as the depth slowly decreased, we got stuck on bottom. We hit the bottom about 15 feet before we actually made it to the dock. Michelle worked the engine and eventually was able to back us off. But it's too shallow for us to get to the public dock. Now what are we gonna do? As we were trying to get WildChild unstuck from the mud, a guy on shore at the S01E48 Yacht Club was sort of waving at us and hollered over, "Hey, where are you guys going?" And we explained, "We have no idea where we're going, we're just trying to find a place to dock the boat for the night." He said, "Hey, tell you what, see that floating dock over there? Why don't you go tie up to that and then come in and see us?" We definitely had angels looking out for us that day. We got stuck right beside the S01E48 Yacht Club. We got adopted by the fabulous sailors and yachtsmen in that club. They saw fellow sailors in distress and absolutely, without a hesitation of a doubt, they took us in, gave us a free place to stay on their service dock across the way for the night, brought us into the yacht club, gave us beer. They offered us use of the yacht club for the evening, and they even offered to give us a ride if we needed to go get laundry done. We were adopted by these sailors because there's an unwritten rule in the sailing community. Sailors take care of sailors. And that's the spirit of sailing. One of the more experienced sailors was kind enough to take us in his pickup truck a few miles down the road to a laundry facility. We had to dry out all our sheets and clothes again. We also went across the way to a grocery store and did some provisioning. To Bob and the gang in Huntington at the Yacht Club, thank you so much, guys. Cheers.
Alright, what are you guys drinking?
I haven't had a thing to eat all day, so anything will go straight to my head. When you are on an adventure, sometimes when you wake up in the morning, you have no idea how the day will end. But today ended really well for us.